Welcome, everybody. This is Close the Tab, the very first episode of our brand new podcast where we discuss whatever we feel like talking about. I'm Alex the Critic, and I'm here with my two hosts, Spaceman 101
Hello.
and
Sucks
and
again.
Travis.
Spaceman sucks.
It's been a while since we last uploaded a podcast or even made a podcast, so we wanted to bring it back because we have nothing better to do with our lives.
It's like, hey, you know what? Might as well just bring something back from the dead.
Yeah,
Turns out, adult life is not only stressful but very boring.
yeah, and you get a lot of free time.
I
So much
want
free
free
time.
time.
You either have no free time or you have free time. But you still
Yeah.
have free time when you have no free time.
So anyway, let's just give people the basic rundown of what's been happening with each of us lately, so they know where we've been and why we haven't been doing any podcasts for so long. And I guess we'll start with Travis because he's the most interesting out of all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Spaceman. People are like, oh, Spaceman, ew. They're like, oh, Travis, ooh.
An average
But
spaceman.
anyway, let's see. Something like what's been going on with me since the last episode. I started my third semester of college. It was very stressful, and college is very dumb and stupid. And then I was stressing out a lot, and I was also getting very depressed. And then
Damn.
I went to the Philippines for Christmas and New Year's for a whole month. And in that entire month, I indulged myself. Don't tell the FBI this, but I indulged myself in drinking because surprisingly, the age requirement to drink is only 18, but for some reason the age requirement to smoke is 21.
Mm.
But even then, in the Philippines, they don't care because as long as you have money, then who gives a. So I spent like a good chunk of my money there in the Philippines just drinking, and it was amazing. But again, I had depression. I'm pretty sure I was depressed because it was very terrible. Anyway, I got back and tried to do college again. I finished my fourth semester, but then I ended up just taking a break because it'd be like that. No, wait, no. I didn't take a break. No, I didn't take a break yet. So anyway, I finished my fourth semester, and then I got my first job working at a Japanese restaurant that was run by Chinese people, and the staff had some Latinos in it. So I was very confused, but it was whatever. Anyway, if anyone's ever wondering, it was called Kobe. It's a Japanese restaurant. If anyone's ever interested, go check them out. And
Hashtag
also
not
all the
sponsored.
I've been there maybe once before.
Yeah,
Ooh.
sushi is really great. And take it from me, definitely don't order anything from the kitchen, but order stuff from the sushi bar. That's all I gotta say. Anyway,
Or from the
yeah,
dumpster if you're desperate.
yeah, order from the dumpster if you're desperate, or like the shed in the back. Anyway,
So what have you
yeah,
been
man.
studying in college, Travis?
Oh well, you see, I'm not in college, anymore. But when I was trying to be an engineer.
What, you
Like
mean you dropped out?
yeah, I'm not in college anymore.
Oh, I must have missed
Yeah,
that then. I guess I blacked out.
I
yeah,
didn't
I
hear
know.
him say anything like that. I thought he was still going to college
Well, you
too.
see, I was giving you guys my college timeline, because I was like, I was finishing fourth semester, and then I got my first job, and then I tried to do a job and college at the same time, but that was very stressful.
That wasn't
And
working.
then, believe it or not, I got a girlfriend,
Ooh.
and then but that got stressful. So then I was having like a stressful relationship. I was having college, I was having work. And then eventually everything came tumbling down. So then I stopped college, and then my girlfriend left me in March of 2020. And in that same month, I quit my first job, and I started working at Pan Express in April. And then now we are here, where I left Pan Express, and now I'm working on a different job.
Nice.
Cool.
Spaceman,
Okay.
what have you been doing the past 2 years?
Mine is not as in detail as Sir Travis. But since the last podcast of recording, we did that still in high school, correct?
Yeah.
Right at
Yeah,
the
we did.
tail end.
Oh wow, yeah. So then after that, I literally just went straight into college and just been focusing on that. Then after I think a year in college, then I went ahead and applied to a job at Walmart. So I am currently working as a part-time worker at Walmart while also being a full-time
Lord.
student.
Oh,
No, I heard a full-time whore.
we'll go with that. Spaceman's a prostitute, everybody.
Oh.
We're not just any prostitute, a space prostitute.
I heard that's the hardest kind.
Oh.
But
So anyway, we're gonna like take out that part of the video because it was completely useless and everything. So anyway, we're gonna go over to Alex.
here's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. We did close the tab right at the end of high school, and that was around the same time that I got my first job at Dollar General, which was
Mhm.
a really shitty experience for me. I didn't like it at all. It was super stressful. I'm not good at dealing with people like face to face. I'm like a very socially awkward person, but that's besides the point. After about 8 months working at Dollar General, I quit. And so far these past 2 months or 2 years, I mean, it would be really funny if it's just been 2 months. After I quit Dollar General, I've mainly been focusing on my YouTube channel and doing stuff on there. Not too much has happened in terms of like my personal life, like with my family or anything. Yeah, I've just been going through all the normal shit, like birthdays and holidays and all that stuff. Nothing too like interesting to report. So
Thanks.
yeah,
I really am the most interesting person, eh?
Yeah. You're the one with the juicy information.
you're the
Don't
one with
ever
all
say
the
that ever
drama.
again, spaceman.
So
Man,
anyway, we brought back this podcast because we were bored and we had nothing to do. And back when we did this before, we had no real like plan as to what this was supposed to be. It was
Mhm.
just us getting together and talking for like a couple hours. Honestly, that was kind of boring. So now that we've gotten back together, and we're gonna be filming new episodes, we're gonna close the tab into more of a like, I guess you could say, reactionary podcast where we just find different topics to talk about per each episode and react to certain things. Like if we have
Oh,
like for example like BuzzFeed quizzes or
no.
4chan green text stories and stuff like that.
Uh,
And then sometimes we'll just have episodes where we just talk about random things, like whatever
Yeah.
interesting stuff we happen to have been doing.
Yeah, I was checking out Netflix because me and Alex were talking about Netflix at some point. He watched his Better Call Saul, which is really good,
Yeah,
and
it's a great series.
and apparently they've updated it on Netflix season 4 because last one I watched was season 3, and I was like, what, good 2 years ago last time I watched. But
Damn,
anyway,
2 years
I'm
ago.
gonna. I think or was it like last or was it? Yeah, 2019. Yeah, 2019 was like the
So
last time I binge
technically
watched.
2 years ago.
Technically 2 years ago. So, and then we ended up talking about Lucifer because I love Lucifer. I can't wait for it because
Yeah.
like for some reason Netflix is doing a thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna release the first half of season 5 of Lucifer this
Man,
year, and then we're
I
gonna
hate that
release
shit.
the second half next year because that makes sense. It's like what I don't. It's whatever though.
Because they have the
But
whole thing done. Why not release the whole season?
I'm
Agreed.
pretty sure they have the whole thing done. But like the last article I read was like for some reason they decided to just record the first half and then they're gonna get back to recording the second half. I'm like, why, why? But
Just
anyway,
why? That's the only question.
so I'm looking through like Netflix and like something caught my eye. It's called Between Worlds and it has Nicolas Cage in it. And the
Ooh.
summary is grieving for his dead wife and daughter. A trucker plunges into a romance with a mother who needs help. The dead, however, are far from gone, and the tags for it is steamy, dark, thriller movies, supernatural thrillers. Nothing about it romance. But you can always count on Nicolas Cage to be in the most wackiest movies.
Yeah, that man has a very interesting career.
He may not be the best actor, but he's the actor we need.
He's my favorite actor. That's what counts.
Shit.
Well, what's the best Nicolas Cage movie that you guys have seen?
I only
I want
know
to say,
one.
what is it, Spaceman?
What is it? I forgot the name of it, but it's the one where he goes and tries to steal the
He just died.
I love this. Freaking FBI was like, he's about to say it. Where he tries to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Can't believe there's only been one episode and his body already gave out.
Dead.
So I'm pretty sure what you're trying to say is National Treasure.
Yeah.
That's
Which
that's
is
a
like-
good pick.
Yeah, which is a classic.
I
Anyone
still
saw
haven't
National
seen the
Treasure 3?
second one though.
Oh, so the second one was good, I think.
I barely remember
like-
the second one.
I remember only watching like the National Treasure movies like once, and I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Oh
But-
really? I've
for
seen like the
me-
first one so many times.
For me, I think like I'm either stuck between Face Off or Con Air.
I've been meaning to watch both of those movies for like a while, but I just have never
Well-
gotten around to it.
Okay. To describe Con Air, it's just male testosterone on steroids every single second, because it's so funny, man. Like every I swear every scene, it's freaking Nicolas Cage running in slow mo, and like some epic like male testosterone steroid song plays in the background. It's just him running
Some
in
Rage
like
Against the Machine.
it's just him running through like flames and like bullets and everything, and I'm like, man, if this isn't the textbook definition of manly, I don't know what is.
And what about Face Off?
Oh, Face Off. It's a really good movie. It has John Travolta in it and Nicolas Cage, and essentially Nicolas Cage's character is supposed to be crazy, which in my opinion is just Nicolas Cage like naturally. No offense, Nicolas Cage, but it's just a really good movie because like there's not many actors who can like play the villain, but like Nicolas Cage did it really well in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
What's
what about
Nicolas
you?
Cage?
Well, I guess Spaceman already answered the question. He hasn't watched anything.
He watched National Treasure.
Yeah, but he barely remembers it, so it doesn't count.
He doesn't count. Like it would have I would have made it an exception if you at least like said Crudes, but then again he voice acted, not really acted.
Crude.
Dang, what rock have you been living under?
You see, I don't know a lot of things.
So,
We can
as
see
we've
the-
established so far, Spaceman's going to be the most boring member of this podcast.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
He's already typecasted.
It's funny too because Spaceman is the guy who records this, so he's like our cameraman. Bro, imagine that like you made a show and you're like, dang, we're missing like one more member, and you just look at the cameraman, you're like, hey cameraman, you want to join in?
And he's
That's
like, all
basically-
right,
that's
I got
basically
nothing
you,
better
Spaceman.
going on.
To be honest.
Just gets retcon out of the.
All right,
Yeah,
so what shows have we all been watching recently?
Oh, who's going first? Is it me or Spaceman or you?
Because I've been watching Better Call Saul. Like, I just got
Right.
done, like, watching the 6th episode of the 5th season, and I gotta say, season 5, not my favorite season. It's,
Dang.
It's not bad, but it's suffering
It could
from
use
a
some
lot of like the problems that the series overall suffers from, which is that it's like really slow paced.
Yeah.
And season 5 cranks that up to 11.
Oh dang.
Like every episode feels like a mini movie, and it kind of got not boring but exhausting because I'm like, are we gonna? Is this gonna end soon? Like, when are we gonna get back to the main character? When are we gonna get back to Saul Goodman? Because all of the drug lord shit that they keep going into, I just didn't care. for the most part for most of the series. Like I
Because
get that
I'm
they have to set it up because it's a prequel to Breaking Bad,
to Breaking
but I
Bad,
was more
yeah.
interested in watching Saul Goodman turn into Saul Goodman.
Saul Goodman, yeah, because it's called Better Call Saul.
Yeah. Well, what about
So
you guys? What have you been watching?
Spaceman, you can go first, even though I'm pretty sure yours will be like, oh, I haven't been watching anything.
Uh, mm, uh, mm. If I had the most recent one is actually WandaVision. My brother got me into watching it.
Oh,
Gotta say, it's pretty good and very interesting.
I
You
haven't
gonna go
gotten
into
on.
detail?
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
still
mean, like,
very new, so I'm not sure if it's like still in the territory of should I say or should I not.
yeah, that's true. But like, I guess I don't
All
know.
right.
Say anything.
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert.
Okay.
The what got me into watching this show, funny enough, was like my brother was watching Matt Pat talking about theory onto the show, and the theory went to like, oh, what the future is most likely going to look like for the show. So when I started watching it, it was like black and white at first, and then like it starts off like was it like one of those like old time shows, and then as the episodes continue, it goes further and further towards modern day like entertainment. As it's going like that, there's also like all these like conspiracies, like not conspiracies, but mysteries going on in the background. It's very interesting. I don't know how
What,
I don't know how to
what is
explain it well.
the series about, though?
Okay, so the series like is it starts off like with Wanda and Vision, and it's like, oh yeah, they're in this like old timey show, but right off the bat in the first episode, they don't know how they got there. They don't remember anything before that. They're just like, oh well, I guess we're now here, and now we're basically now married. Well, let's fit into the town. Then like the episodes continue and things like start to like reality starts to deteriorate. So it's like, okay, at first, like, literally, in that first episode, things are already awkward. Like, was it one of the characters were choking, and the lady's like, stop it, and repeats over and over again. And it doesn't do anything until Wanda says, like, hey, Vision, can you help him? And then that person was saved. And then they just continue as if nothing happened. Then, like, in the next episode, there was, like, interference with, like, the outside world. Where it's like, one of the radios was like, Wanda, are you there? Who's doing this to you? Where are you? And then like basically like the whole like show start becoming glitchy and cutting out like parts of the show, and it just continues off as if it was normal. And then the third episode comes out, and the third episode is outside point of view of the reality bubble, and it's like, okay, now there's a reality bubble. What do we do? And then the fourth episode, no wait, I think I can't remember the order right now. But what is it? One of them is like goes into the color, so it goes from black and white to color. Then I think Wanda figures out that she's in a reality bubble, but she continues to play a dumb to it. And then in the newest episode that actually came out today, where is it? Wanda continues to try to keep herself in the reality bubble and tries to continue pretending as if everything is normal. And Vision starts to realize, wait a minute. This isn't, something's off. I don't know who I am. I don't know my past. I don't know anything. I just remember waking up here, but something is super off. And it was revealed that the Vision in the reality bubble is literally the corpse of Vision put back together like a puppet. It's definitely interesting.
It sounds
show.
like a Matrix type situation.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like, what is it at the end of the episode that recently happened? Like, super spoiler alert territory. It's like legit the forgot his name, the silver speedy guy.
Quicksilver.
Yes, Quicksilver. He shows up at the end, even though he's been dead forever. So either it's a corpse, or what I'm thinking is the devil using Wanda's mind in order to continue manipulating her.
And is it all the same actors from the MCU?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
That's amazing. That's the amazing part.
Where does the show fit in with the MCU, like the timeline of it?
After Endgame.
Yeah, basically after Endgame, they I guess Wanda comes back, and then she goes ahead and try creating a fake reality for herself, and then Wanda then like comes out of the unconsciousness when she's like starts off in the first episode. She's like, I don't remember how we got here, but we're here now. Like a dream state. It's like, oh, we're here now. All right. But then after the episodes continue, she realized, wait a minute, this isn't real. But she continues to play it off as if it is. But the thing is, Vision continues learning more and more throughout the series. It was like, wait a minute, this isn't normal. None of this is normal. How are we having kids out of the blue, and how are they aging just like that in seconds? And the fact
He's
that
starting to see through the cracks.
yeah, and the one character
Sad.
who I have a heavy belief is actually one of the workers of the devil. It's literally like one of the characters who first pops up in the first episode. Like the Wanda and Vision goes into the house. Vision's like, "All right, I gotta go to work, honey," and then they do that, and then Vision leaves. But then Wanda literally just standing in the kitchen, zoned out for a couple of seconds, literally just looking at nothing, and it's like, what do I do now? She says nothing, but she's just there, not with nothing to do. And then next thing you know, out of the blue, a knocking happens on the back door, and this one character who keeps popping up in every episode and appears always whenever the plot needs it. This character comes in with like something like a Deus Ex Machina every time. And I'm feeling that is the devil trying to get into Wanda's head. It's like, ooh, what could I use to use her?
Screw with her.
Yeah, or screw with her.
That's true, because I think isn't the next big like Marvel movie supposed to be a Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of
Yeah.
Madness?
Yeah, there's like Spider-Man
Which I'm really
with multiverse.
excited about.
Oh yeah, I still find it funny. It's like the multiverse madness. It's like, oh, that's cool. You have Spider-Man with multiple dimensions of himself. Then you have Doctor Strange with like, Doctor Strange magic and all that stuff. And then you also have Wanda, who can literally just manipulate with reality. And one of the theories that Matt put is it's all going to happen because of Wanda.
Yeah, most likely, because I don't know if we should say his name, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna introduce him here in the podcast pretty soon.
A good friend of ours.
A good friend of ours is several good friends of ours are fanatics in terms of like Marvel comics or DC comics or just comics in general.
Yeah.
And so one of them has said like how Wanda has reality shaping like powers and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is gonna happen.
And one of Matt Pet's theories is the children that she got, is like now she has. The worker for the devil, so they're going to use the children because they don't exist. It's like, oh yeah, they're not real, and starts like screwing with basically takes them away, and then just let Wanda break reality because she's like, where's my children? But she hasn't yet understand that. Nope, she just created the children out of her subconsciousness.
Well, that's very interesting. I need to watch that whole show.
I haven't seen the show yet, but I don't really care about the spoilers. My question is this like a mini series or like a full-on TV show?
I believe it's like a mini series, but I am unsure.
It's a mini series, yeah. It's on Disney Plus.
Right, because it's gonna be weird if it's like a full-on show that takes place in the MCU.
No, well, I mean, it does take place in the MCU, but I don't think it's show-wise, like the length. I think it's only gonna be like a couple episodes, probably 10.
Yeah, because that's the big problem with the Netflix, the old Netflix Marvel shows, is that you never really got a sense that they took place in the MCU because they were so disconnected from what happened in the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, about the Doctor Strange movie, I'm really excited for Multiverse Madness.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Not just because it's we might have a chance to see all the live action Spider-Man actors meeting up together, but also because it's directed by Sam Raimi, who is the same guy behind the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Ooh.
That's some good shit, my guy. My only shtick is I feel like we probably have to watch WandaVision just to get some context that they might say in the
Doctor Strange movie. Yeah.
Yeah. That might be the case.
Well, I hope that the story stands on its own. They explain everything that happens.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, that's what a good movie should do. You shouldn't have to watch anything else extra just to enjoy it.
Yeah, or a good series. Another good series I remember is Red vs. Blue. If you haven't seen that, you should go check it out.
Yeah.
Seasons 1 through 5, it's slow paced, but it's it's really old, that's why. But Red vs. Blue, I love it.
It still holds up really well.
It really does, and I love I also they're a good example of you can have side stuff, but you don't really need to watch them just to enjoy the series, because
you can still watch the regular episodes and not be lost at all.
Exactly.
But yeah, my
But
biggest issue
anyway,
with talking about shows is that I have really bad memory, so it's hard for me to like talk about specifics that happened because I always forget.
well, you see, for me, like if I really like the show enough, then I'll watch it religiously. So like I'll make sure to like memorize every single detail of the show. So if you ask me anything about Rivers Blue, I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened in episode 3, season 3, probably.
Do you remember the episode where one of the characters travel back in time to try and prevent everyone from dying?
Oh yeah,
It was
church.
like, yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
that
when
is one
Church
of
went
the
back.
funniest things I've ever seen.
I love that where it's like, you killed Church, your team killing fucktard. Oh my, oh no, I'm the team killing fucktard.
I remember this one scene specifically where Church is meeting all the versions of himself from his failed attempts to change the past, and he sees one guy who has like yellow armor, and he's like, "Dude, what happened with you?"
He's like, ah,
It didn't
I
work.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Oh man. And I love that so much because that version of Church is actually. Oh wait, I don't know if I should say it because it'll end up spoiling some stuff for anyone who's interested. So who
we'll
wants
include the
to?
little spoiler alert here.
Yeah, yeah, or maybe like put a timestamp or something. But yeah, I love that because like it just turned out to be Caboose's version of Sister because he thought that Sister was Church's sister. so so I remember that. Freaking Church went in Caboose's mind. It was like, wait, why is Sister a guy? Because he is your sister, and his sister was like, yes, I am Church's sister. No. Anyway, I guess now it's my turn in terms of TV shows. I haven't really watched any TV shows except anime because I'm a big weeb like that, and I'm Asian. Oh yeah, to anyone who
Ooh.
doesn't know, I'm Asian.
After Travis finishes giving his answer, me and Spaceman have an anime that we would like to get into
Oh my
on this
god.
podcast.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
no. I already know what it is. Man, how far? How far? Oh, yeah, you know what? I'll ask that question after I'm done. But
Yeah,
I've
continue.
been watching a bunch of anime lately. Not exactly like I watched some new ones, but like I've been rewatching some old ones because I was like, why the heck not? And plus, I like it. I like rewatching old ones because they make me feel good about myself. Because like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened, and I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy this. Yeah, it's like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Season 2 is coming out this year actually, but I've been
I
like,
gotta get
I don't
on
know
that.
why. I don't know why, but like that's like the one default anime that I always find myself going back to. Like every time I want to rewatch something. Like I don't know, it's like I don't know where I'm just like playing a game, and I'm like, you know what? I should rewatch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I'll finish it. Then I'm like, I'll go through it again. I'm pretty sure this, like, again, it's almost like Red vs. Blue, where, like, I'm watching it religiously at this point because I'm pretty sure I've undergone it so many times to where, like, I don't even know, like, Japanese, but I understand, like, the scenes. So, like, I can, like, go out, like, I can just, like, go up, like, get up, not even pause it, go get something, come back, and be, like, and I can see it from far away and be like, oh, yeah, they're in this scene right now. But yeah, I've rewatched that. Another thing I've been rewatching is Cells at Work because season 2 is out now in Japan, I believe, but it's not.
Oh, I need to finish
It's
this
not.
final season. I got all the way to like the last episode, and I just never finished it for some reason.
Because you're
Spaceman, you
lazy.
suck. Honestly, truly blasphemy. Cells at Work is such an amazing anime. It
Agreed,
makes
it
like
is.
it's just so cool because like something so simple like cells and everything, they turned it into like this whole anime. Like this is amazing. But yeah, season 2 of Cells at Work is out now in Japan. It's not on Crunchyroll yet. I don't know if it's out on Funimation. So yeah, Cells at Work, really good. Check it out. Another one. This will be like the last one, I guess. Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. It's a really good anime. It's very funny. It's like I want to say it's on par with like Miss Kobayashi Dragon's Maid, like humor in a sense, like that kind of funny. It's really good. Go check it out. There's not a season 2 yet. There probably won't be, to be honest. A man can dream.
I love how he
But yeah.
didn't go into detail about any of those shows.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like you just have to watch it yourself. But to give you a quick summary, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's literally in the in the title.
Yeah,
It's a dragon. It's a dragon maid. I don't know what to tell you, but
it's a
let's
slice
see.
of life
Yeah.
comic.
It's a slice of life, and it's also very comedic. It's really good. Anyway, but let's see. Cells at Work. Cells at Work. I believe I already said it. Where like they took the human body and was like, hey, let's make all the cells into anime people. and then let's make some of the cells anime waifu. Some of the work, it's I want to say it's also like a slice of life in a sense, and it's
It's
also
definitely
very funny as
interesting.
well.
Like a
It's
literal
super,
sense.
And it also
yeah,
gives facts. It also gives facts, which is the most interesting part I
it
like about
it
it.
really does, yeah. But like thing is, don't watch the one on Netflix though, because they have cells that work on Netflix. But the thing is, like those facts, like they put on the side, like has like all the Japanese description, all that stuff. Netflix, they're super lazy, so they don't bother like translating it. Meanwhile, on
I hate that
Crunchyroll,
shit.
Crunchyroll, they actually do translate it. So I'm like, dang, I've been missing out on all these facts. But yeah, go on Crunchyroll. In my opinion, is worth it. Every episode, it just tackles on like things that like everyday people go through, but like it puts on steroids because it's like it's what your body goes through.
Hmm.
Like on the outside, it may look like nothing. On the inside, it's like a lot of mess, and I'm like, dang, makes me appreciate more about my body. So go check that out. And then Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. It's also a slice of life, as you can tell. Now we're starting to see some sort of
He's
consistency in my
he's
taste in
got a
anime.
type.
Yeah, it's like it's a funny anime, very funny, and it's about a chick and a guy. Uh, let's see. So one of them confesses their love, and then one of them finds out that one of them is a guy. He's a manga artist, and he's completely oblivious to the chick's feelings, and so the entire series is just the chick, liking the guy, and the guy's like, oh,
That was so
uh,
simple. Like, oh,
yeah,
like,
just oh.
I guess that
No,
happened.
yeah,
Perhaps.
because that is how he is. Oh, okay. Wait, I'm sorry, but like one more anime I want to put out there because it's super good, and season 4 is coming out this year, I believe. It's called Overlord. It's such a good anime. Oh my gosh, so good. What makes it good, you may ask? It's just I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's just really good because you have this really overpowered character, but like it makes sense because what Overlord is, you have the MC. This is set in the future to where we have like if you ever watch Sword Art Online, they have like that kind of
Ugh.
technology. They have that technology, yeah, where like you can just like link yourself into the virtual world and literally just like lay in bed or something. And the MC, if you ever watched World of Warcraft, yeah, that's what the MC has been doing. He's been playing World of Warcraft, and he's like the guild leader, and he's the last remaining guild member that's still active because he's just that into playing the game. And so in the first episode, it's like he's already like level 100 or something. He has all these like cool items, rare items. He's super powerful in the game, and he and his guild members even built their own base. And so on that same day, the game was supposed to shut down, and so he thought to himself that he would just, stay in the game for as long as he can, and maybe, he's like counting on the fact that like the game would kick him out because, it shut down. So he closes his eyes as it counts down, and then he closes them back up, and he sees himself in the game still. But it turns out that he's not in the game anymore. He's actually in a different like fantasy world. And so the entire anime is him like trying to figure out, if it's just him in this fantasy world or if any of his other like guild members are in the world as well. And he's trying, and the reason why it's called Overlord because now he's trying to like conquer the world and all that stuff. And it's really good. It's also funny, but it's very dark, and I suggest not liking some characters because this anime, they don't like, man, they're not afraid to kill off any characters. I'm just saying, like, they'll make you think that some of these characters are like, really important enough to where they have plot armor. It's like, no, 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 they don't.
So it's the Game of Thrones rules we're playing by.
Oh, there we go. Yes, I guess that's why I also like it because Game of Thrones is also really good. Speaking of Game of Thrones,
Well, it was very good.
the
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, except for the final season, I'm still very iffy about the final season.
Everybody is, but I feel like that's
That's
something that
true.
like everyone has already said everything that could be said about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like to me, the only redeeming part of the final season was the Battle of Winterfell with the Nightwalkers. That was
That
the
only
plan was
works on
very,
like a visual like sense for me because the actual battle, if you think about it, was really stupid.
yeah. It was so dumb. It was like, okay, so we're just gonna charge our forces into the blinding darkness in hopes that they would like kill off most of them. It's like no, the like Jon Snow literally like watched as the Nightwalker King kill people and then raise them back up from the dead. but first, like the grand scheme of things, they wanted to bring out the Night King so they could have a one-on-one. The thing is, they didn't even have that technically. It was like a sky battle, but even then, like that entire episode, everyone was very frustrated because like it was just dark. Like most of it was
Yeah, the
completely dark.
lighting, like, why was
The
it
lighting
so dark?
was terrible. Like
DC
my
logic, dark is
my
good.
me being hopeful, I was just hoping that maybe the directors were like, we're putting them in like the perspective of them, how it's just complete like pitch darkness and like we're trying to invoke like some feelings. I'm like that I can see that, but it's just done so terrible.
Yeah, you need to be able to tell what's going on. Like, the audience
Exactly,
has to be aware of their surroundings, or else it's really hard
exactly.
for us to get into the scene.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know, but then like the reason why I say the Battle of Winterfell was like the redeeming one because I think that's like the best one they've gotten it in my opinion because because like the episode before that everyone was like all the characters were having like their final moments with each other and then like because like some characters ended up dying in the Battle of Winterfell that I felt like they shouldn't have died like for instance Jorah. I feel like he wouldn't have died if freaking King, the Dragon Queen, Daenerys, just flew off with her dragon. Instead, she just had to sit there and fall off her dragon and then get attacked. I'm like, bro, what are
So
you
many
doing?
of the deaths in the final season like could have easily been avoided if the characters just did something slightly different.
Exactly. But
How did you feel about how the Game of Thrones actually ended? Like the thing that all the characters decided on at the final episode.
it was fucking stupid. It was so stupid, but it's in a sense, I guess it made sense because the thing is, Jon Snow, he in the beginning of the episode, the beginning of the series actually, he never saw himself as being a king. He
Hmm.
saw himself as someone who served the wall. Like one of the black ravens or something. I don't know.
Like a soldier.
Yeah, yeah, like a soldier. So I guess in a sense, Jon Snow he got what he wanted at the end because he got banished to beyond the wall with the wildling. Because Jon Snow he found himself more, basically he was more friendly with the wildlings than actual people.
Hmm.
Because like the wildlings are exiled, and he's always been seen as an exile because he's a
Yeah.
bastard. He grew
Hmm.
up being a bastard, and no one likes that. Even though it turns out he was like of royal blood. But it made sense for Jon Snow, and for Bran, that was definitely some
I did not like how they made him the king, and it was for the
honestly.
shittiest reason too. It was because, oh, he has the most interesting story. I'm like, that's such a dumb reason
No,
to
That is
pick
so
someone for the
dumb.
king.
if you want to hear interesting story, freaking go to Sansa. Freaking the chick had to watch her dad die, and then she was like abused by like fucking stupid ass kid brat of a king. And then she had to like escape across the entire like country or like nation or something. And then she ended up getting fucking raped. And then she had to escape again. And then she ended up wait, did she marry the guy? I'm not sure, but she ended up getting finessed by the creepy guy who was in love with her mom. And then she ended up becoming like the queen of the north. Like that's more interesting than Bran the Broken.
Did the another thing I didn't like is that they never solved that whole subplot with Bran being like a psychic or having like
Yes.
some sort of a mental like powers. They never touched on that
We never
at
touched on
all.
that. It was just oh yeah, you are the three-eyed raven now. It's like
What does that mean?
honestly. But it's like, oh man, oh that it still breaks me to this day about Hodor,
Mm,
bro. It's just hold the door. That was so good. That was such a good episode and scene. Makes me cry. 10 out of 10. We'll cry again.
all right,
Let's
well,
see.
that's enough bitching about Game of Thrones. Me and
Well,
Spaceman have to bitch about a certain anime that we got to watching last night.
Oh my gosh.
So, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, me and Spaceman watched the anime Ero Manga Sensei
oh no.
all the way through in
Yep,
one
all in
sitting.
one sitting.
And here's the basic summary of what it's about. It's a rom com anime about a kid who is a writer, and he has a sister who's a shut-in and is also an artist. And she like the sister is the person who draws the manga. Like she provides the illustration for the books that the brother writes, but they don't know that until like about halfway through the first episode, I think.
Yep.
So the entire series is basically about the brother discovering what his sister does, and the two of them rebuilding their relationship. But it gets really, really sketchy, like throughout the series.
Definitely.
It's straight up an incest anime that just doesn't go all the way with it. But like, yeah, it was it was a journey.
Oh,
I,
definitely.
I felt like a broken man at the end of it.
Like the characters they kept focusing on had very little to do with like the actual like they did barely no story or at all. And then you also have some characters where it's just like they show up once or twice and that's it. Like the most good characters there were was literally the boss of the brother
Of the brother, yeah.
and the side character of a
So yeah, there's a side character gets introduced. I think it's the second episode. I'm not sure, but
yeah second
pretty
episode.
early on in the series,
Second
this
episode.
side character gets introduced, and she's like a popular writer named Elf Yamada, I think. And Elf is this like bratty girl who starts off as like the rival to the brother because they're both competing for a publishing spot at their company that they work for. And she gets the most character development throughout the series. Like
Yeah.
she's the only character who actually is interesting.
Which is so weird because, like, okay, you have the character that, the whole show was focusing on, but then the side character gets the most character arcs out of everyone. She starts off with, like, rival, like, I'm going to defeat you. Then she goes into, like, the crush mode where it's like, ah, yes, I do actually like the main character. And then from there, she starts building up into that relationship. She does like flirting, she does dating, she does all this stuff.
Yeah, the series ships the two of them hard for like most of it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then, my gosh, there's I don't even know if I should be saying it or not, but so many of the characters just start off like horny, like hell.
It's they lay it on so thick.
Yeah,
Pun intended.
Like what? The third episode, right off the bat, is a high schooler girl who comes to like try to get the little sister to school, right? But the thing she straight up does is like she starts flirting with like the brother, and it's like,
oh my god, the way that she introduces herself to the brother is so cringy.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what she said, but the summary of their conversation is like, just her asking if he finds her attractive or not.
Attractive.
And then
because I think because wasn't something at some point like wasn't one of the questions like she was like, hey, would you sleep with me or something? Wasn't that one of the things?
Yeah, and then when he like doesn't like respond or doesn't like feed into her or enable her, she's like, oh, what are you, gay?
I remember.
yeah.
And like wasn't the worst part was the fact that like he's like somehow the sister was hearing it because like he like FaceTimed her or something, and he like kept his phone like secret or like hid his phone.
The girl, the girl was like she had the phone in the background. She was like doing her own thing.
Oh wait, no, that's late. That we're talking about like the second half of the episode.
The second half.
Where
yeah,
the brother gets the sister to talk to the schoolgirl, but it has to be through like a headset he's wearing or like an earphone, and the sister basically feeds him lines to say, and it's like a fucking James Bond operation.
Yeah.
The thing is, the schoolgirl, she has her phone out like in secret, and she's secretly recording the conversation she's having with the brother and the sister, and the show never like reveals what exactly she was doing. She was just recording them for no reason.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just saying, watch as they come out with like season 2, and it's completely different from season 1, and like they figure then it's like it delves into the whole like, oh, is because we're with the FBI or something, and
Oh my gosh, like what is it?
imagine
I don't
that.
want to skip to the end, but my gosh, it gets even worse.
That reminds me of a joke we made about the schoolgirl being part of a secret to catch a predator.
Oh
team.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's an undercover agent. I swear to God.
Yes.
she's an undercover
The whole
agent.
time she
Yeah,
was like trying to flirt with a guy. It's like, come on. And then she's also like trying to say like, oh, are you sleeping with your sister and all? It's like, what the heck? And then,
yeah,
oh
because
my gosh.
yeah, because like, isn't the guy supposed to be in college or something?
Yes, he
He
is.
graduated, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, and
He's like an adult.
yes, and like and he's like what his little sister. So it would make sense if this the entire anime was just like a build up to like to catch a predator.
That would have been
The final
amazing.
episode the final episode is just like them like taking the brother away, and then the chick is like, "Here's a recording of all the things your brother have said."
That
I'm with
that would be
you.
amazing.
That would.
If that's what happens in season 2, I'm watching season 2. One of the things I hated about the series the most, well, there were two things. One was all of the really unnecessary and gratuitous shots of the sister in sexual poses
Yeah.
that just felt really uncomfortable because she's
I'm,
definitely underage, and I don't get it. I don't get
I'm pretty
Japan's
sure.
fascination with that shit.
I'm pretty sure the anime was just trying to appeal to the lolly lolly concept.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
what
like
is it? Remember when we were looking at like the reviews, and one of the and one of them was like, it's if you're brain dead, it's an okay show,
Yeah, if you
but there
turn
was
off your
way too
brain.
much fanfics.
If you don't think about it too hard.
If you just take it at face value, like just a brother loving his sister.
No need to like investigate this.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh wait,
God.
yeah, no, wait, hold on, wait. I feel like they probably got away with it because didn't they say that like they're not related by blood?
They aren't.
Yeah, they're like step siblings.
That's funny.
That's the cop out that all anime uses though.
Yeah.
All
Like
anime
they're
uses,
always either like step siblings or like half siblings
or like
or some
cousins.
shit. Yeah, or cousins.
Yeah, with Sword Art Online's oh yeah, we're cousins, but
Oh, dude, I hated that so much. As if it couldn't get any worse, they had to like tack that shit on.
You know, like I gotta say, the show is ridiculously crazy. Like what is it? Is it the 4th episode that we get introduced to like the elf girl being the neighbor?
Before you get into that, spaceman, we gotta the second issue with this show is how much time is dedicated to stories that go nowhere.
Oh my gosh, it's so
There's
true.
so much filler in this series.
The whole series is literally, you want fillers? We have 2 sets of fillers for you. A filler in the beginning and a filler at the end, and then also a little bit of plot in between. And it's like, my
it's so,
God.
so
You'll just wind up with several episodes that go nowhere and teach us nothing about the characters.
Yep.
Such as the haunted house episode where we get introduced to, well, not introduced, but like the rival author moves next door to the brother, and their first interaction is he catches her playing the piano while she's nude. Like,
Yep.
straight up.
And then what is it? It doesn't even stop there. Like they get to the door, and then the what is it? She's like starts like, "Oh, you're a peeping tom," blah blah blah.
I think
And then
that's cool.
like what is it? She straight up admits like, "Yeah, I'm a nudist. So what? You got a problem with it?" I was like, she's literally just like, and this is the part where they just confirm her character as a nudist pianist.
The thing that's so stupid about the way that this series is written is that after the brother catches Elf playing piano while she's naked, she freaks out at him and calls him the pervert for catching her playing piano naked when she did not do anything to hide herself. She left the windows open, she left the curtains open. She was
Yeah.
doing this shit out in the open, and yet she's gonna call him the pervert just because he caught her doing that.
Yo, that's like yo, that's like imagine a little kid just going up to an adult and being like, "Hey, mister, would you like to have sex with me?" And the adult's like, "What?" And this kid's just going like, "He's a pedophile."
Yeah, it does a double like thing. It's like, oh, would you like to like be horny with me? No. Oh, you're such a pervert. What?
Or you're gay.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gay.
Gay.
Man, man. So basically, what I'm getting from the anime is that if you're not into children, you're gay.
Pretty much, that's the implication they give.
Oh my gosh, it gets so much ridiculous too. Like, what is it? I don't know, like what pacing we're doing about the show, but
We're going episode by episode.
Okay,
So
because I was about to talk about like her being in her room, like plot line. I was just about to get right into that.
oh yeah, they never go anywhere with that.
They don't.
She
They
doesn't
say it once
actually
and that's it.
progress as a character.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the sister for the listeners.
Yeah, the sister is just a oh boy. There's a whole story.
Spaceman, don't speak like that.
But anyway, the sister is a character who has no character, and yet
Yeah.
most of the problems with the show start with her.
Like either she's just used for like plot motivation, or she's just a flat like not even like really important to the show at all. It's just like she has the most screen time,
she's
but she does
basically
the
there
less.
for she's basically there for fan service.
Yeah, she's a plot device at best.
Yep.
And the one plot with her that carried through like the whole series is that she's like trying to leave her room and become like more sociable, but she doesn't progress as a character. She's at the exact same place when the series ends as when it began.
Yes. It's so ridiculous.
Like, we wasted so much time on stupid plots that went nowhere. And thanks to that, none of the characters actually like grew as characters.
Yeah, it's that, but it was the only character that actually somehow did it is Elf Girl.
And what's another, like, because we're going episode by episode. So after we're introduced to Elf, who's the next character that they introduce us to? I think it was the purple haired chick.
Yeah, but she comes out like she comes way later. Does she?
Does she? I think she comes in like halfway through the season because she gets introduced when they're doing the whole the contest.
Oh yeah.
Where each writer submits a short story to win the prize of the publishing spot, which is another subplot that they set up and then resolve in the same episode.
Yep.
You'd think that they would make this conflict the driving force of the whole season, but no. They solve it like the same episode they bring it up.
Yep. It is so ridiculous. Like, the way it gets solved is literally one newspaper saying, oh, top contestant forfeit. Literally
Yeah,
that.
because she wrote too many words. That was the actual like reason she broke the rules. And like the thing was, each female character in the series gets like they force a romantic like pairing with the main character.
Yeah.
Like they're each roped into this shit, except for the manager, the library girl. But even she had like that moment towards the end of the series where she kind of teased marrying the main character for his money.
Yeah, she's like at the end, just like starting to get in. Like she's like, oh, now
They started to go that route. They started wink, wink, nudging us towards that. And the other guy that gets introduced towards the end of the series. Those are the only three characters I can think of that aren't into the main character.
Yeah, that's definitely because every other character, and we get introduced to a lot of characters, are just like, yes, we want to get in that brother's pants. And the little sister is not even a skew. You know what? I don't even, man. I want to just get to the thick plot, but dang, it's like the little sister. You thought the high schooler was the horniest by like manipulating the brother and just trying to get down his pants.
The sister's the worst.
The sister's a lesbian who likes her brother, who will do anything to take panties from anyone. She will like steal your panties.
She's so obsessed with getting like references to draw for like her erotic art. Like, remember the episode where the schoolgirl visits their house for like the third time?
Yes.
And she agrees to be the sister's model for like drawing, and they tie her up and like put a bandage, not a bandage.
Bondage.
What do you call it? well, yeah, bondage. But they tie her up. They put a like cloth over her eyes. They tie her up. It's bondage. That's clearly what it is.
Yeah.
Um, then they fucking like the sister like it's sexual assault is what she does because she
Yeah.
takes off all her clothes and shit.
Yeah, like
oh my God,
while she's like saying like this doesn't feel right, the little sister comes around, sneak around, and then just pulls down her panties and takes it from her. And then literally in the episode, the high school girl starts tearing up.
Yeah,
Literally.
Dang.
like she's actually crying over this, and I just remember watching that, being like, these are horrible fucking people. Like I can't believe they would do this to this girl.
Yeah.
And like, keep in mind, this is the same character that we started out hating, but this episode made us sympathetic to her because all she wanted to do was get the sister to go to school and befriend her.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting sexually assaulted instead.
It's so ridiculously crazy.
It's sick. It's what it is.
Um,
And another thing I hate about the series is that there are so many characters that get introduced that then never show up for like several episodes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like I think the schoolgirl, the bondage episode was the last time she showed up until the very end of the series.
Yeah, there was a massive gap between her stuff.
That's like the first example of when you can tell that either the writing in the series was very rushed and they didn't have a lot of time to get all the plots in place, or it's incredibly poorly paced and they didn't know how to write the story because there's so many like plot lines and characters that get introduced that are either forgotten or resolved very quickly.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
it
gosh.
just leads to an entire series of dumb shit happening, you not caring that dumb shit is happening, and the characters going nowhere as characters.
Yeah, and especially like the part where, like, I think we're already at that part where the little sister, she two times she like does this one scene where she like comes down the stairs and they're making like a dramatic scene. It's like, oh my gosh, she just left her room, and like, it's like, okay, why can't she leave her room? Why is it so important?
What's the problem?
Yeah. So
Like-
so then they get to an episode where they explain why she doesn't leave her room, and it's literally the Padme of the pre-sequels. She doesn't want to leave her room because she doesn't want to. That's why she
Yeah,
can't
that's
leave her
the
room.
excuse that she gives, is that she doesn't want to leave her room. That's why she never leaves her room.
And I'm like, my gosh, this could be fixed so easily. And I went into a whole tangent about, it's like, okay, how do you fix this? Make her crippled. Straight up. It's like, you break her legs, you have her in the room, now you have a good reason why she can't leave the room. So that when she
it's
does
funny
come
because,
out
like,
the room, then it's a bigger deal.
it's funny because because like in the first episode, doesn't the main character didn't he thought that she didn't leave her room because of him?
Yeah.
Like there was some like tensions within the family. Like that was
Yeah.
established.
Yeah, and so like he thought that like, man, that's wild.
Oh, and they waited until like episode 11 of a 12 episode series to give us the backstory for the sister and the brother. That honestly, I thought that episode was the best in the entire series because it's the only one that had an interesting story that actually built up how these characters like met and their backstory leading up to the series. Like they at least gave us something. It felt genuine. Like I liked the story they were telling.
I have to say, I had the complete opposite effect.
I mean, you
I
go
was
ahead,
not-
Space Man.
I was no
yeah.
longer
You-
interested in anything that was going on in the episode. Like as soon as it started, I was like, I zoned out because already at this point, at the end of the season, at the end of it, there's only one episode left, and that's when we get the backstory. Like, okay, if it was earlier, like you would still be like, okay, you have the two main characters, that's who you focus at. But at this point in the series, there's a lot more interesting characters than these two who are supposed to be the main characters. And like
Yeah,
for me personally, I couldn't. That episode was just a filler for me. Even though it's supposed to be like playing as a backstory, it failed to do its part because it's at the end. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I want to see more about the relationship between the elf girl and the brother. Or, I don't know, they're writing because they're all writers apparently.
Yeah, you barely get any scenes of them like actually explaining like their stories and how they write said stories and like how their creative process works. Like they never discuss the actual books that they write. So we never
Yeah,
get into any interesting like conversations that don't involve sex in some way. I agree with Spaceman in that episode 11, like its biggest problem is that it's at the end of the series. The backstory should come like either it should like be included in tiny segments throughout the series, like build it up, like give us small tidbits throughout each episode, or just have it all at the beginning of the series so we can set up who these characters are, what their relationships are to each other. Like we can get all the information out so that we can follow the plot without any issue. So the fact that they chose to save the backstory for the end of the series is such a stupid move.
agreed. That's the biggest flaw. And I definitely say it would have definitely been a lot better. A lot better if it was given little by little throughout the whole series. But the fact that they dropped it all in one episode, that's not like you trying to paying attention to it. One, it's not that big entertaining like everything else has been. Yeah, everything has been ridiculous, so it's like crazy. But
Yeah.
the fact that the backstory is much more tame than everything else that we've been introduced to, it's like, how are you supposed to pay attention to that
Yeah,
when you have an
the
elf girl
tone,
going on
too,
a date
it's
and this little sister being all horny and perverted and trying to steal everyone's panties?
like the rest of the series has been all like sexual shenanigans. It's been like a traditional comedy, and then we get to episode 11, and it's like this like deep, somber like backstory as to how these characters met, and it's like these two. This has nothing in common with the rest of the series. Like we're watching a totally different show right now.
Yeah.
I think there's more that we haven't got into because you mentioned something about the sister that you hadn't gotten to yet, but it was like the worst part of the show.
Oh, it was the room and like her getting stuck and like.
Well, no, it was something else. I think it was the way that they teased that she would get together with the brother. Because there's one scene in specific where I think the
Oh my
sister asks
gosh!
him
I know exactly what.
who he wants to marry, and he gives like a smile.
Okay, yeah, because it wasn't there's this episode where they're all talking about their dreams, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what's your dream? Oh, I want to be popular. What's your dream? Oh, I want to finally write a book that will be like great in my opinion. Oh, and then they go to the little sister while she's in her disguise, and they're like, what's your dream? And she's like, dream? Well, I want to be married to the person I love. And before this part, the sister clearly tells her brother, I love you. I want you. I want your meat. And the brother is like, oh, I love you too, as a brother. And it's like the girl's like literally like, give me your meat. And then the fact that she's like, oh, I want to marry the person I love. He just like gives this big old like grin. Like a giant smirk, and he keeps that throughout the whole frame, and it just keeps staying there for more than a couple of seconds. It's like, oh my gosh, he knows exactly what she's talking about. And he's like, oh yeah, can't wait. And it's like, what the hell is going on?
Why are they shipping the siblings? Like you could ask that question of most anime, but especially this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, oh, you already have a really good couple that could easily go out. Elf girl and brother boy. But no, they want to do brother and little sister. What the hell's going on?
Like I think the series would have been much more interesting if it was just a normal like slice of life anime about a brother and a sister like trying to rebuild their relationship and trying to like actually like befriend one another again, like after like being like separated for so long.
Definitely. Like
Like if they
had
just cut out the sexual shit, like
The
this
thing is-
could have been such a better show.
Yeah, the thing is, it has all the elements. It just fails to execute the right thing at all. Like the only time it actually gets something right is somehow with Elf Girl and Boy, and where they're just like chatting one to one, no other characters, when they're just chatting with each other like a normal conversation. Like, how is that the best part of this show? When the two characters, like the side character and the brother, is literally having just a genuine conversation. Like, my god! So ridiculous.
Yeah, the amount, like, there's so few conversations in the series that are actually like interesting to like listen to, because again, most of like the character interactions are based around like sexual stuff or like just general like comedy like nonsense. Like
Yeah.
there's rarely a time where the characters actually try and get to know one another, and the only times when it happens is when it's between the brother and the elf girl, which is why their relationship was the most interesting because they actually had chemistry.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the elf girl was the most interesting because she was already they already established that one, you wouldn't have expected it, but she's a model and she doesn't really write for like as a job. So it's like,
It's
oh,
like your hobby.
yeah. So that's a curveball. Then there's another curveball where she's just straight up like a pianist nudist who doesn't care. She's like, yeah, I'm a nudist
Like she
pianist.
owns who
So
she
what?
is.
Yeah,
Like she's
she owns
comfortable
her
in her skin.
shit. Like what? There's no, like there's barely any characters I can think of that
Like,
actually can do that. And she's
all
like,
of the
yeah,
other
so what?
characters like are like such like two-faced liars who aren't honest about like the fact that they're like the brother is clearly sexually attracted to the sister, but he wants to lie to himself and act like that's not the case. But at least with the elf girl, she's honest with herself. Like you know exactly what she's thinking, and she will tell people what she's thinking.
Yeah, like my gosh, the only the only character when it comes to having a good arc and actually some good content is literally the elf girl. And I would have never thought that would be the case.
Remember how at the end of the series, when the elf girl invites everyone else to her private island that she had her family owned, because of course she's like rich. And while they're
I
at
thought
that
she rented
island,
it.
was it? Because I thought it was owned by their family.
I don't know. I can't
That's what I
remember that
remember
part.
her brother explaining like it as. But whatever. Point is, like, she invites them out to this island, and throughout those last few episodes, everyone else refers to the elf girl as a Yankee.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. It's like everyone before calls her elf because that's what she was referred to as.
That's her name.
Then after it's like then the beach episode comes in and everyone's like, "Hey, it's that Yankee, Yankee, Yankee
like-
with no
Like
brim."
every like couple of minutes. It's so stupid.
Yes, it is.
And like I don't even know why they started calling her that. Because the only thing that we learned about her in those last episodes is that outside of like family shit, is that her and her brother have like English names. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like the only reason I could think of for why they kept calling her Yankee.
Yeah, there's no other explanation.
Because I don't think they ever like say that she's not from Japan. Because she speaks Japanese and she looks the same as all the other characters. So why are they calling her Yankee?
And you know what? It's also the weird fact that they're actually elves and not just regular people.
That's
who
another
appear,
thing.
Who doesn't?
This series has like a magical twist to it that never gets explored. Like elves just exist in this world, and I don't know why or how or for how long. They just are a thing, and they never get into that.
Yeah, because like, what is it? Well, at first we thought, oh, it's just like the girl.
Like she's probably cosplaying or some shit.
Yeah, but no. Then her brother also has like the same like elf ears, and then one of the main characters like, oh yeah, they're all elves. Interesting. It's like what? So elves are just a thing, and you're not. There's no explanation or anything. They're just here now. Okay, I guess. All right.
It's so fucking stupid. Which is what I would describe the entire show if I were to do a review of it.
Oh yeah,
Just
definitely.
it's so stupid.
I just imagine you just make like a 5-second video and you're just like, hi guys, welcome to my video. Today we're gonna review this anime. Stupid. Okay, we're done.
Don't watch it.
The fact that
Unless-
you have to
unless
be
you wanna-
technically be brain dead to watch is the most
Yeah.
ridiculous part.
You should not have
It's
to
like-
be. You should not have to turn off your brain to enjoy a piece of media. Like it should be like enjoyable. Like you should want to think about it. You know.
Yeah, It's like the more you think about it, the more it gets worse.
Yeah, I don't, like. I'm trying to think of what else we may have left out because
Sounds like you
man,
guys
it's
tackled
so
everything
much. Like
unless
there's so much in this series that's like fluff. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, there's just so much filler. Again, I would never expected watching this anime from just like the first episode. I would never expected that the elf character would be the one character that would actually be rooting for the whole time.
Yeah.
Like my gosh, that's the last thing I would have ever expected.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Oh, and
I would have not expected too that the little sister is the most evil one out of everyone. She is the most
yeah,
horniest,
she's
pervertist. She will steal your clothing if you're not careful. She will like
like
go into your pants, steal your underwear. It's like yeet, goodbye.
and like her excuse will be that she needs like references like for how she can draw like erotic art, and like it's like the question I always asked myself was like, if she needs like references for things to draw, why doesn't she just look at porn? Like
Yeah.
it's so much simpler, and you don't sexually assault people that way.
Like every time, like it was like talks to her brother, like after like a certain point in the show, she's like, "Hey, brother, can you find more subjects that can use their bodies?" And it's like, you know what? You're basically asking your brother to go out there, search for girls to bring them back, and then tie them up just so that you can model them.
Like, it's
Oh my gosh, that literally becomes a plot line for the little sister. She basically becomes the mafia of, oh, I'm gonna you get their body and I'll draw it, and I'll take their panties too if they're not careful. Like my gosh.
like well, like she'll just invade their personal space and shit.
Yep.
And the final episode, because
Oh, the
we've pretty much
final
covered everything else.
episode.
The last episode is terrible. It's
It's not even a
probably
final. It's not even like you would consider a final. It's like another filler
It's-
episode.
it feels like just another episode, but it's
Yeah.
the final one, and like there's so many problems with it. And the first one I'd like to get into is we finally get to see the schoolgirl in this episode, like for the first time in like half a season, and it's so that she can provide the sister with like a photo reference for a dick because she doesn't know how the male anatomy works or whatever. And the photo that she sends in is of a character who, in the shot that she's like that we see her in, like she's hanging out with like a little kid who's like playing with an airplane toy. And the photo that the schoolgirl sends to the sister for reference is of the little boy. And they the dialogue that the characters have after this implies that the schoolgirl is dating like the boy. Which, like when I saw that, I was like, "Hold on a minute, what? Like, did I hear that right? Is that really what's happening in
Oh
this scene?
yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's weird. I don't like that."
Yeah. And then like what is it? Another strange thing that I was like, what? Why? It's the fact that the whole like series has so far just been like softcore, just softcore porn, and that's it. But at that last episode, they were like, straight up, yeah, we're just going to now go into actual porn territory. Yeah, you want hentai? We're going to give you hentai.
Yeah, they actually blur shit out in this episode.
And they even like have like the little sister is like, ah yes, porn of my own characters. I'm gonna make some even more porn characters.
And she has like she has Elf and the other writer chick like stripped down to like their like underwear just so that they can play Twister. So she has like photo references for art, and I'm like, why did either of them agree to this?
Yeah.
Like Elf, I can understand because that's who she is. Like that's like she's just down for that shit.
Hmm.
But the other writer chick is like written as this like serious, demure character who's not down for any nonsense. And in this episode, like she says, like I straight up don't want to do this, and yet she just does it anyway. Like she gets strong armed into doing it by the other characters, and I'm like, this is like I'm pretty sure you guys are breaking some kind of laws here,
Yeah.
which is what we were thinking like at many points throughout this series.
Oh, many points.
Especially the bondage episode, like that.
That
That's
straight
not
up
right.
was the worst. It's so crazy. That was the first. That was the beginning part of the episode where the bondage crap, and then at the last half of the episode, then you actually get some actual plot about like Elf Girl and the brother teaming up to try to beat the purple hair girl.
Yeah, in the same
It
episode.
goes from horrible to all right, that's decent. It's like what? Well, how? Why do you have that both in the same episode? What the bloody hell?
And it doesn't. It has nothing, like that first half of the episode has nothing to do with anything, because the schoolgirl disappears for the rest of the series until the end.
And the Yellow Sister never goes to school, and that was the whole plot outline of the high school girl, and it never happens.
It didn't go anywhere. It just flat out did not go anywhere. And the final episode doesn't even resolve the love triangle between the brother and the sister and the elf girl. Like, it ends in a no-win scenario. No one gets together. No one, like, nothing happens. That's literally the end of the series. That's
Yep.
the best way I can describe the finale. Nothing fucking happens.
Yeah, you could just skip to the end, like, and nothing changes. You don't miss anything.
It's impressive how much time they were able to waste in this series.
That is true. It's ridiculous.
Like, it takes effort to write a plot that goes nowhere.
And not just one plot that goes nowhere, two plots that goes nowhere in one episode.
And several, like, major subplots that have nothing to do with anything and also go nowhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was me and Spaceman's experience watching the worst anime ever made. Which I'm sure people in the comments section will be saying, well, oh no, there's this worst anime that you guys have never heard of, and it's this, and it has even worse stuff than Eromanga Sensei.
But we're gonna have to check it out, so then we'll see if it actually is the worst one.
Oh my gosh.
Next thing you know, we're just gonna open up a rabbit hole of like terrible anime.
We're essentially just gonna start a trend of finding the worst anime ever.
Like I hate everything's like search for the worst, but instead of reviewing terrible movies, we're reviewing terrible anime.
Oh my god. Imagine how worse that is. Because you're not just watching one thing, you're watching a whole series.
Like I don't think it's really like as bad as like what you guys have watched. But like I remember when I was like getting into anime, because I'll make it known that my first animes, the ones I watched, like the first two, it was Clannad, which is a slice of life and drama anime. It's really good.
Yeah, I've seen like the first half of that, like of the first season.
It's so good, make me cry like a bitch. And then the second anime I watched after that was High School DxD. It opened so many doors to me, and
there was his sexual awakening.
Yeah, let's just I was a horny little like middle schooler bastard. So, everyone already knows. So I was looking for a bunch of eki anime, and at some point I came across this one anime called Candy Boy, and so the premise of it is you have these twin sisters that are madly in love with each other, but not in the sibling way.
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is, there's no like fan service at all. It's just like it's very wholesome, like they go on some dates, they hold hands, and like the entire time I'm like, are they really like twin sisters, or is this the anime just like fucking dicking me around? Because like I don't know, it's just it made me go, aww, wait a minute,
Hold on a second.
And then at some point, one of the sisters, she ends up hanging out with like this one chick. She's fairly attractive, I want to say, but she's been hanging out with her a lot more. And so the other sister, she's like getting jealous. She's like, oh, maybe she stops loving me now. And so she's like, and so like the chick, the sister, she actually like is like going through some stuff. Like, wait a minute, maybe she finally realized that since we're sisters, we shouldn't be doing stuff like this anymore. And she ends up getting depressed, and I was like, dang, like this is actually getting serious. And then, she finds out that the sister was only hanging out with the chick because she needed advice for some odd reason about her sister.
Never explained.
No, they did explain it. Yeah, it was just yeah. I just needed advice and all that stuff, and so reassurance, and then at the end of the anime, they're both like lying in bed together, about to head to sleep, and then they kiss, and then the anime's over, and I'm like, that was kind of wholesome, but they're sisters. I was like, you know, it's still in the back of my mind of like I've watched an anime about twin sisters who are very into each other, and then I watched Game of Thrones, and I'm like, ah,
Now I get it.
now I get it. Oh man, but yeah, it's called Candy Boy. It's not as bad as Arrow manga. I'll
Yeah,
definitely
I
give the
doubt. From
benefit of
from
the
what you
doubt.
say, it sounds much more like tame.
Yeah, yeah, it's much more tame. It's very wholesome. It's just like if you overlook the fact that they're twins and they're sisters, it's like an LGBTQ
Plus,
friendly anime. Yeah, because like you don't really see much animes like that where it's like
that's true. You
LGBT
don't see that kind of story in anime.
because like
Even
because
though,
like
like, traditionally, like, it's just common over there. That's, like, part of their
yeah
history.
Hmm.
because like I think like the only other thing I can think of is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh well, then you clearly have never seen Citrus.
Oh no, I haven't. It's on my watch list though.
I've seen that series like twice, and
Is it
it's
good?
it's pretty decent. Like I personally like it, but I also know that a lot of people hate it, and I understand why they hate it. There's a lot of shit that's like really fucked up with how the story plays out, but the actual like the
Oh.
core story, like the actual romance, it's I like it for the most part. It's wholesome. Like there's actual like character development, unlike in Arrow Manga Sensei, where
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
happens at all.
Man, like it sounds like the anime definitely fucked you guys up in like the most terrible way. Like
Yeah, we're different
one
here now.
anime that one anime that messed me up to where like I hate the color green now is Goblin Slayer, my guy. Woof. Let
I,
me
I
tell you
hear that
about Goblin.
I hear that only like that first episode is like terrible, but after you get over that hump, it's the rest of it is okay.
Oh yeah, no, the
That's what I've
rest of
heard.
it, yeah, it's just the fact that like the first episode, a chick literally gets raped on screen. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, whoa. I was like, you know.
Like that's rough.
It's like it's so gory. Like people die and then like people get raped. I'm like, what is this? You know, and like it just like ever since then, like it's just like every time I hear a chick scream, it just takes me back to the first episode, and I'm like, I hate the color green now. And Goblin Slayer, they came out with a movie recently, and the
Ooh.
first 20 minutes of the movie is a recap of the first season, but the thing is, the recap is just like it just recalls all the like traumatizing scenes, and I'm like, why do you do this to me?
I'm trying to get away from this shit, damn it.
Right? But shit is fucking wild. I can't look at green ever the same
It,
again.
it's ruined as a color now.
It really is. And what's really bad was that my ex really really liked the color green,
Wah wah wah.
honestly. But there's a reason why she's my ex. Aha. So yeah, that's like one anime that I guess messed me up. But in terms of like storyline, like how you guys mentioned about how like you have these side characters and they get like the most
Development.
development. I wish that happened to one anime called Angel Beats because my
I've
guy
seen that before.
my guy like it's such a good anime, but the thing is they have too many characters, and
That's
they make it to what they make it to where the characters are so interesting, but like they never get into it. They
I
only got
that I didn't like it all that much specifically because of that. Like
yeah.
it was an interesting premise, but I just didn't like any of the characters.
It's just like there was so many characters. I was so interested, and I was hoping because like at some point they were doing like character arcs for each of the characters. Like they did one for the pink haired chick. I think they did one for the purple haired guy. They did one for like the light pink chick. They did one for the evil guy that showed up. I think like in like episode 5. But then he became good and he got like development. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? When the rest of the other characters getting development, it's like no. Guess what? No. I'm like,
It's not gonna happen.
it's just not gonna happen, and it's just but it's a good, in my opinion, it's still a good anime. You know, made me cry. Like, not a lot of anime can do that. Okay, that's a lie. Almost every anime can do that.
Yeah.
But still,
We're very weak of heart here on the Close the Tab podcast.
you give me
But,
sad storyline, I cry.
every time. Anyway, you brought up like an interesting topic of like what's like a show or a movie that we've watched that's really like messed us up like psychologically.
Oh man, like
Like, what do you mean?
Like it left like a scar on us.
like
Like
a
it just like
s-
freaked us out.
yeah. Like what? Like what? I know
It
I
doesn't
watched some.
specifically have to be anime, but like anything.
Yeah, like what's the other one I watched? Well, like horror movies in general just freak me the fuck out because
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, man, like
I can't stand
I,
horror movies.
I'm just out here thinking like, man, like whoever's the director of this must have a very fucked up mind to like make something so scary and horrifying, you know?
Hmm.
Like, or like anyone in general who make horror stuff. It's like, are you okay? It's genius, but it's like very concerning at the same time, you know? But
Well,
anyway, here a spaceman can go first because I'm still trying to think about it because like I feel like I have recently watched something that I remember it fucked me up so bad, but I was like I'm just gonna forget about it, and I forgot about it. So
yeah, I'm
remember it
also
again.
having that same issue, but when you guys started going into horror movies, like what is
Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Like for now, let's just go with like what horror movie fucked you?
well, the thing is, I try to stay away from like horror movies. Like I've barely seen any, so I don't.
Yeah.
I have no
Ah.
experience in this field.
Okay.
Let's let Spaceman go first.
Okay, so what is it? There's like there's this one movie, Annihilation. There you go. Annihilation is definitely an interesting horror movie because at first it's like there's some sort of anomaly, and it's like but like it has like a giant wall, and it's like growing the like over time, and scientists go in but they don't come out. So the main character is literally one of those scientists. Her and this crew, and I think one of her like boyfriend or something like that also goes in there too, and they go in as a team. And as they go deeper into like this into this zone of like influence or whatever this like anomaly is, they reach a point where things start to really be out of place. Like where the first thing they come across, I believe, is like a albino alligator. And then like they start to see like flowers like growing all over the place, and then they reach a town that is literally flower people. They come across like a school, abandoned school, and they camp there for the night. And they start hearing human screams out in the forest. And one of the people recognize the voice that's screaming is one of their teammates that got lost in the forest. So they go out there to try to like find the person but everyone's like, no, don't go out there. It's like, but they need help. They're crying for help. So then they go out there, right? The girl, she's just running straight for it while everyone's trying to stop her. And then she runs up, and then she gets ambushed by this bear who has a human skull on the side of its face. And it starts eating, like ripping the throat off the person. And it starts mimicking the voice of that girl who just got killed. And it's like,
That sounds fucked.
Oh yeah. So then they go into this whole entire like fight to try like kill the bear, but the bear gets injured, runs away, and they fortify themselves within the school. And when they go in there, they find the previous team that went into the area, and they find that one of the people basically merged against one of the sides of the pool. So when they get closer to that person, they see the torso's like cut open with like a videotape like thrown like across like the pool. So then when they go to the videotape, it shows that after a while being in there, people start changing in a way. And the person who was like attached to the wall was one of the people who started showing affliction to like this anomaly.
Anomaly.
Yeah, and like what is it? He starts like screaming like, I feel there's something moving in me. Just like I can feel movement. My organs like just there's something moving in me. And people like start freaking out in his team. So they cut open like a bit of like his arm, and all his muscles start squirming like worms. And then they cut open his belly, and he doesn't feel a pain, but he can just like feel like all the intestines moving like worms across his body.
Ew.
And then the videotape ends there. So the team's like, shit, well, we definitely need to get to the center point, destroy this anomaly, and get out of here. So they continue on their journey, and then they reach this town of flower people. Flowers growing like people. So they're like, what the hell is going on? Because the flower people aren't moving, they're just flowers that are in the shape of a human form. And they find out that, wait, the flowers have human DNA, so it's trying to reconstruct a human, but it's a flower. And they're like, oh my gosh, there's something weird about this place, and they're like freaking out. One of the characters gets so freaked out, they literally just become like zoned out the whole time, and walk away from the party, disappearing in the flowers. So basically we just assume that they died. Then the main character and like 3 other people, they're like, shit, what do we do now? And then they get ambushed by one of their teammates. And they wake up after being knocked out, and it's nighttime. And she's like saying that, oh, you guys got my friend killed and blah blah blah. And they're like, no, no. And then they hear the scream, like the cry of like, hey, help, over here, hey, hey. And then the main character, she's like, shit, don't go out there. And it's like, oh my god, my friend's alive, holy shit. So she goes out there, she takes a gun, she opens the door, you hear a bunch of gunfire, and then you just hear a body flop down, and guess what? It's the bear again. And the bear's like, now has her voice saying, hey, you there? And it starts getting closer and closer to like the teammates, and basically gets next to one of their ears, because they find out that the bear is blind. It doesn't have any eyes. So it literally uses your voice, like the voice of their victims, in order to call you over. And while it's screaming at the person, it doesn't know that they're there until it knocks them over. And right before it attacks, the bear gets killed with a shotgun from the person who got their throat, like, nibbled out. And while they're just dying there, you just see them choking on their own blood before they die. So then, 3 team members are left, and they start heading over to the final area. And while they head over there, they start like debating, should we return home? And I think 2 of them is like, okay, we'll return home, and you can finish it off. So the main character, she continues going down to the final area, where there's now crystal trees. The whole area is like a desert beach. And then a character finds a lighthouse, and inside that lighthouse, it seems like something shot through the lighthouse from the sky. And then it finds out that was the asteroid that caused the anomaly. So then she finds a hole like in this like on the lighthouse, and she goes through it deeper and deeper down this tunnel until she basically finds like this room, like, you know, like optical illusions that have like if you keep zooming in, it just goes infinitely. The whole room is shaped like that, but in multiple times. So it's like a room filled with like infinite, like smaller versions of itself. And in the center is this like, it's one of like the first team members that got lost in like the beginning. And she's like freaking out, and she's like, oh, you finally got here, and such, before she basically gets like sucked dry from this like energy thing. And then the main character has this optical illusion staring right into the heart of this anomaly. And the anomaly basically takes one blood drop and starts transforming itself into her. And while it starts doing that transformation, the main character's like, shit, I got hypnotized. And she starts running up, and next thing you know, the anomaly is sprinting right after her, until it basically gets in front of the door and starts mimicking every move of her. The main character eventually figures out that it's literally copying her reaction. So what she does is that while she's looking around the room, she finds another tape recording, and it was her boyfriend who was stuck in the same situation with another version of that thing, where there was another version that was trying to mimic him, and he tried to he basically lost his mind at that point, and he destroys himself with like a thermal grenade. But the anomaly walks out of the lighthouse and then continues acting as if it was him. But then the girl, she figures out how to use it against the anomaly. She basically gives the thermal grenade to the anomaly, goes to the other side of the room, pulls the pin, like pretending to pull the pin, but the anomaly actually pulls the pin. The anomaly gets set on fire, and as soon as the anomaly gets set on fire, the main character runs out of the lighthouse while it's still dying. And while she runs out, you see every other anomaly, the flowers, the crystal trees, everything gets basically starts burning with this from like a thermal grenade. Like everything in the whole area starts to be burnt to death. And then she escapes, and they say that the wall of the area has disappeared, and now it's like clear, and they're sending in teams to like try to look for survivors. And then it ends off with a note that she basically knows her boyfriend is no longer her boyfriend, but the copy of her boyfriend from the anomaly. And she's like, well, shit, I guess I'm done here. You want to head home? And the anomaly's, sure, why not? And that's how it ends. And I was like, whoa, such an interesting horror movie.
And what movie was this?
It was called Annihilation.
Oh,
I gotta say, the soundtrack is amazing.
oh yeah. If there's one thing more horror movies have, like them over any other kind of movie, it's the soundtrack.
It's the soundtrack. Oof.
But yeah. Anyway, who wants to go next?
Let's see. What's a horror movie that fucked me up really badly? Shit.
Remember, it doesn't have to be a horror movie. It can be.
Well,
Anything.
that's true. It could just be anything that
Let's go
fucked
with
me up.
horror
Yeah.
concept. Horror concept. It'll make it much more simpler.
Yeah, but I guess off the top of my head, something that really fucked me up. It's not horror, but it's called Lolita, and it's literally
I've read about that. Like I haven't
it's-
read it, but I've read about it.
has my boy freaking Jeremy Irons. Hold on, wait, let me look it up.
Oh, you're talking about the movie.
the movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the book.
No, but I didn't even know there was a book.
Oh yeah, it's based off a book.
That's fucking whack, my guy. Well, then again,
It's a
that's
Russian book too.
fuck. I'll give it up to the Russians, right? But it's called Lolita. It has my boy Jeremy Irons in it, and it's so fucking whack because like he's such a great actor and everything. Like the fact that he's in this movie, this movie, the premise of it is like like this old guy he fell in love with like his like childhood best friend, when he was younger, but then she died, but like he still loves her and everything, and so like he went to America. He's living with this chick or something, like renting out a room, and like he meets the chick, like the housewife, or like I don't know, the chick's house, like whoever, like she's the whole house owner and all that. So like he meets like her daughter, and he's like, oh, like she's exactly like my childhood best friend and everything, and so like he ends up falling in love with her and all that stuff, and like the entire movie is just like, oh god. It just made me like I can't look at Jeremy Irons the same anymore because he had sex with her. He has sex with a whole child.
That's a big no around these parts.
I'm just over here like Jeremy Irons. No, like
That was Stanley Kubrick, right? Like he directed that, I think.
I think. Let me check. Who's the director? Director Adrian Lyne.
Oh.
If anything, it's probably like the old one that you're thinking. Yeah, Stanley Kubrick is the one that.
There's two versions as far as
there's two versions. Yeah, there's a 1962 version. There's a 1997 version. I assume the 62 is like more tame in terms of
Well, it's Stanley Kubrick. It's probably worse.
Never mind. Yeah, probably. It just fucked me up because the thing is, I think his name is Frank. Yeah, it's Frank Langella or Langella or something like that. He like at some point, like you see him fucking naked, and I'm like, what?
That kind of reminds me of another movie like called American Dream, I think. It has Kevin Spacey in it, which is way more disturbing considering that movie is about the main character having sex with like a 15-year-old, or and not sex, but it's like sexual like tension, or whatever. But it's close.
It's funny because Kevin Spacey's a fucking pedophile and he's gay.
Yeah, so that's like double fucked up.
It wasn't, man, that's not too long ago actually, with like, Kevin Spacey coming out as gay and he was like accused of like, violating a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago maybe.
That's fucking wild. Kevin Spacey, what is wrong with you?
Man, I forgot all about that shit.
I can never like understand how someone could just be like, ooh, yeah, an 8-year-old, let me hit her up. It's like, no, what? And it's even worse too when they themselves have kids.
Yeah, it's just worse in general, but even worse when you have kids.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Like I don't understand, my guy.
You should know better.
Honestly.
But yeah, anyway, I guess now
Oh
is the
yeah.
time for me to give my answer to what screws me up the most. And I kind of have a different like answer to like the two of you because it's like what Travis said. Mine isn't horror, but more like the concept. And the movie that I'm talking about that really like screwed me up was American History X.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
That is a really dark movie about racism and hate crimes. That was such a terrifying like movie to watch. And I was like incredibly young when I watched it too. Like I
Hmm.
had like no like prior experience to like seeing that kind of like visceral shit in a movie. Cause the main premise is about like this neo-Nazi who like goes to prison and like gets raped, and like
By
that
his own
experience kind of like
neo-Nazis.
yeah, and that experience kind of like changes him inside, and he tries to like keep his brother from like going down the same path he did.
Hmm.
And he does a lot of like the main character does a lot of fucked up shit in that movie. Like
Yeah.
that was the first time I ever saw what a curb stomp was, and my
Yes,
god,
bro. That shit
I
was so fucking wild.
and that's like the beginning of the movie, I think.
It is, yeah, because yeah, the begin like that's how it shows why he went to jail.
Yeah, I just I can't even like think about it. And
Yeah,
then
but
there's
like
the whole scene at the grocery store where they assault that Korean. I think she's Korean. I can't remember. She might have been Hispanic, but they assault the lady who like runs the store and like pour milk all over her and shit or something.
oh yeah, I remember that. That shit was wild. But
That
like
was
doesn't like don't they kill the brother though at the end?
yeah. I think they do. Like he gets.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets shot or stabbed, but something happens to him at the end. And like the last scene of the movie is like him reading out like a letter he's writing. Because I think the reason the movie's called American History X is because the brother has to take like this special course in school.
Hmm.
That's called American History X, and the movie ends with him reading out like an essay he wrote for the class.
Yeah.
It's the thing is, it's a really good movie that teaches a lot of valuable lessons about race and like whether or not you can like terrible people can find redemption, and
Yeah.
it's a good movie. It's just really disturbing.
Yep.
But yeah, that's probably like way at the top of shit that like screwed me up. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of Close the Tab. We're gonna try and keep shit consistent. We're gonna try to get more episodes out like sooner. We're gonna try to do this, I guess like a weekly thing or like bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
like depending on your guys'
Yep.
schedules.
The availability, yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna try to make this a variety show where one episode we could just be talking about random topics, and another episode will just be focused on one thing. But yeah, I have been your host, one of your hosts, Alex the Critic. This is Spaceman,
Yeah.
and
And I'm Travis.
yep, and thanks for watching the episode, guys. We will see you all next time.
In the next episode of Close the Tab.